Thank you. Namaste. So thank you for being here today. I really appreciate your time. I know it's a Sunday, so I'll try and make this as quick but informative, and also show you guys some demonstrations throughout the time that we're here together. So I just wanted to kind of acknowledge Anna, my assistant. She is killing it behind the scenes. All the emails that you guys get, all the communication, that's her, and without us. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Most of you guys know me, but my name is Matt Josvina. I'm the owner and lead practitioner at On Your Health. Our aim here is to care about you and to try to get you off all of your medications, change your mindset so that you go from one of sickness to one of health. Okay. We're not here to push, we're not here to manipulate, we're not here to control. We're literally here to give you your power back so that you just feel good overall and that you're thriving and optimal in your health. Okay. So today I want to talk about obviously the heart, and we're going to kind of split this up into 3 subjects. The most important that I've found in my research and in my mentorship of others. So I'm going to start with my favorite, which is sugar. Okay. Who likes sugar? Anybody? No, you do not, brother. Get out of here. So I'm gonna first, before I go into sugar hardcore, I'm gonna start with what is the heart? What do you think is the heart? Talk to me about what you guys think the heart does. Anybody? Anybody?
Keeps you alive.
Keeps you alive. Yes. Pumps. Yep. Anything else? There's a lot more to it than just those 2 things. Okay. So your whole body is a frequency, right? Whole body. We are all connected. If you think about biblically, spiritually, all those things, right? We are brothers and sisters. We are one, right? We are meant from our Creator, right? So we are all connected in some capacity. Think of it this way: as moms, as dads, right? When you get that gut feeling of something's wrong, right? What does that mean to you?
Something is wrong.
Yes. But why? You're connected to your spouse. You're connected to your son, to your kid, right? So with that in mind, think about your body is more than just a body, right? You're spiritual, right? You have a frequency and energy connection to other people, right? I strongly believe that all of you are here because you are connected on some capacity of wanting deeper truth, of wanting something more, right? So your heart is its actual own entity, if you think about it, right? We have our body, which is spiritual and frequency. Your heart is its own frequency and energy, right? So, for example, the best way I can describe this is I went to a seminar 2 weekends ago, okay? Heart felt great, feeling awesome, right? The next day, I was absorbing so much of people's stuff, so to speak, that my heart started pounding out of my chest.
Yeah, you get good stuff of it.
Both, but mostly bad, right? Mostly bad stuff. Energy, negative emotions, which I'll talk about, okay? That frequency of other people's stuff, my field of my heart was so exposed, right? That I was literally like in this down place, okay? So all of that to say, your heart takes on more than you think it does, right? Do you ever have sudden pain, right? Or sharpness in the chest, or you can't sleep, you're super tired, but you don't know why? Your heart is tired. It's exhausted. We put out so much energy from that heart, either with, you have negative people in your life, you have toxicity in your body, and your heart has to do all this work to just maintain stasis, right? And what happens is when that heart gets too tired, the rest of your body jumps in to save the day. Your adrenal glands, your reproductive system, okay, your thyroid, all of these things start to take control because your heart is not functioning at maximum, at optimum energy, okay? So does that make sense as I say that? So you need to think about your heart not just being this muscle, but it's literally electric pump, right? It's electricity. Notice that when you walk into a room and someone's like, oh my God, I need to meet that person, right? Why? Their heart is open. They're not afraid of who they are. They've become so grounded in themselves and in their heart energy that they can come in and heart's open, chest is open. Otherwise, you see somebody that's like this, can't really do this, Jackson, you do this, right? You're concave, and people always say, oh, I need to open up, I need to, my structure, my back, my lid, right? My shoulders. Guess what? Until this is open, You're always gonna have this, always. That's all toxicity, right? And I will lead into that, right? But it's all toxicity in the body, hits the heart shuts down, and you are no longer able to be positive and open, okay? Yes,
Wait, I ask a question. Right?
yes, go ahead.
You said that we're, we can go, what does it mean, stasis with that?
Stasis, like balance, you're in a balanced state, okay? Your body hits a stasis, it's in a balanced state. Yeah. You want it to be balanced, right? When you guys come in, most of you have come in and you've gotten tested and things like that. What happens is that your body is in an imbalanced state and your body is always changing, your heart's always taking things on, which is why we test all the time frequently, is because you're being hit by some stressor outside, inside, right? Things from your 20 years in the past, right? So all those things affect your heart. And I'll go into that deeper when we get into emotions, but all those things affect your heart. Sugar is a huge one because sugar is a legal drug. Did you know that? Did you know that? Sugar is a legal drug.
Yeah, it's food.
No. Drug is not food. Alright? Sugar cane back in the day,
Oh, that's what I was,
yeah, that's not what we have in. We have just sugar, straight up sugar, right? It's not sugar cane, it doesn't, sugar cane in the past actually used to help your teeth. Actually, it's really good for your teeth. Nowadays, it decays your teeth.
you're saying sugar doesn't come from sugar.
No, not anymore. Tons of research on that I can absolutely send, but it's all that whole thing is from the pharmaceutical and the food industry has been completely contaminated to make you crave more, right? Sugar nowadays is highly palatable, right? And it crushes your gut bacteria. So those of you who have candida, any kind of bacterial issue, constipation, bloating, low energy, and I know a lot of you in here have those things, so don't even lie, right? You all have it. Guess what stops it? Guess what stops digestion completely?
Guess what stops it?
Sugar. Sugar shuts down your entire digestive system, makes you gain weight, okay? And it doesn't feel good. And guess what it also does? What is the gut connected to? Your brain, right? Gut to brain connection. So you eat a little bit of sugar, and it's like, oh, it's just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit? Sure, but we haven't eaten just a little bit over the past 50 years, right? We're so inundated with sugar now, it's become this like reward system, right? Where you're like, did something nice today, deserve a cookie. Let somebody in, merged in, deserve a cupcake. I don't think so, right? And then you wonder why we're in so much disease, right? Sugar, in my opinion, is the second leading cause of every disease on the planet right now. But the problem is that nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to make you accountable of, hey, this sugar thing that you're eating all the time, the cookies, the cakes, the junk food, guys, I can't emphasize it enough. I used to be close to 300 pounds, my family can attest to it, 300 pounds overweight, not overweight, 110 pounds overweight, okay? I was considered the junk food king, popcorn, cupcakes, cookies, soda, all of it. And guess what? I was depressed, suicidal. I did a lot of things in my past that I'm not proud of, but guess what? I know God brought me through all that to get me to this point, right? To help you all see, wow, if he can do it, you can do it, okay?
So what, when the government says, I don't know, it's not just older people, but when you see all this, sugar packets that are things.
Splenda,
So they invented that.
Correct.
To say, oh, you don't,
and then what's in that,
replace the sugar.
correct, but what they put in those sugar packets is not real sugar, it's aspartame, right? Which leads to further gut disrepair, right?
That's, everybody uses those in diners.
Oh, I'm aware, is it good?
My mother.
Is that good?
Is it good?
Is that good though? No, it's not, so this is where again, you eat out, and that's fine, right? It's fine to eat out, I'm not saying never, you're gonna eat out, I eat out every now and then too, right? The problem is you need to know, and I got a problem, I will discuss this later, but you need to know, to take your power back, you need to know how your food's being cooked. You need to not be afraid of going into a restaurant, I'm not afraid anymore. I go in and I say, I'm allergic to canola oil. I use their terms of allergies against them, okay? I'm not sensitive to it, I'm allergic to it. We're all allergic to it, I hate to tell you, right? You are being poisoned in those oils, which I'll tell you about later, on a deep cellular level, and those are the things that cause massive issues, okay? So going back to sugar though, okay, so sugar stops digestion, it also pulls energy from the heart, right? If you're eating excess sugar, and yes, I do mean fruit as well, right? People are like, oh, but it's fruit, it's natural. It's still sugar, y'all. It's still fructose. Fructose, sucralose, all those oses is still sugar and it's still affecting you. Again, I would much rather you eat fruit than something from some chocolate or Sour Patch Kids or whatever that these kids eat anymore. And another part of this to go into the sugar is a lot of these sugars, like the candies and the sweets and all of it, all of it. Reese's to sugar to Skittles to all these things. It's not just the sugar. They're also putting dyes into these foods too. These dyes are causing anxiety, ADD, ADHD, depression, and Alzheimer's, all these things. But we're like, well, why are all these things on the rise? They're on the rise because our food system is completely corrupt. There's no other way to put it. And this is not a political issue. It's literally just we all want to be healthy, right? Like that's what it comes down to. It's not, this isn't left, right, whatever. This is literally like, I care enough about you all to show you the truth. And again, don't take my word for it. Go do the research and look it up. It's all there. You just need to be willing to dive a little deeper than just what the first page of Google shows you, okay? So sugar, obviously we know bad, right?
You said that was number 2. Cause it.
Yes, I'll get to the first one in a second. So most people wonder, this is your point, most people wonder, well, why am I so addicted to sugar? Why can't I get rid of it? Why can't I? And I'm gonna ask you all, some of you know. So if you know off the bat, don't say anything, but if you don't know, what is the number 1 toxin that leads to sugar addiction? Anybody?
The number 1 toxin?
Parasites.
Yes. Parasites are the number 1 reason that you are addicted to sugar.
That's not a symptom of your sugar addiction? That's the cause you're saying?
That's the root cause of your sugar
How
addiction.
long have you come here? You never told me that.
Yes, I have.
That's all he talks about.
I didn't pay him enough.
How many times have you heard me say the word parasite?
Really?
A lot.
He's a slow learner.
So, yes, parasites are the leading cause of 99% of disease. And guess what? I guarantee you all, before you came to see me, did you even know about parasites?
No.
I know you did.
I did.
No, you didn't. Before you came to see me, you knew about parasites. No.
No, I never heard.
Right? Yeah. When you first started, did you know anything about parasites?
No.
No, right? I've been learning about parasites probably for the past 3 years in depth, okay? And funny enough, Lisa was actually the first person to be like, they have parasites in sushi, and I was like, stop, I don't know.
Wait, back Lisa, you knew that?
She did.
I did, and I dropped the bomb when I went.
Yeah.
I didn't realize picking up the ball.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that she did it because it helped me dive deeper for you all, right? This is a community. We're in a community of helping each other learn and helping each other grow. And I'll give her the credit of that. She led me in that place, and God said to me, go deeper. And I said, I still get chills thinking about it. Go deeper. And guess what? Now we have the top products in the industry, leading industry, to get rid of that stuff for you. Okay?
So
Robert, can I hold the question for 1 second?
Okay.
Thank you. Leading industry, Cellcore is the number 1 leading supplement brand that gets rid of all of this stuff. And they're working harder and harder. I was just at a seminar in Dallas, harder and harder to make it even easier for you all, okay? So, Anna, if you can you get that first video ready for me? I'm gonna show you the easiest way, other than parasites, the easiest way to get rid of your sugar addiction, okay? Apologies to the little clip.
And that's my, where that starts.
Yeah.
In my research, that company you're using the number 1.
Number 1
Using
brand.
it, but it's an-
Yeah,
Number
I
1
do
button.
know.
brand,
That's what they said.
industry,
So,
Cellcore.
yeah.
It is.
I looked it up.
See, you guys research, I love it, it's good.
Which-
Close up, here you go. Alright, so this is, once she's ready,
Hold on, you want me to put it up?
Yeah.
yeah, since, do you need help?
I don't know.
Wait a minute, Bob Newport. I sent this to you.
No, you do.
Dude, I've been showing this for 10 years.
Alright, take a breath.
But I don't know how it ends. No,
No,
this is.
Robert, sip it.
So this. But this is good.
Hold on, everybody listen.
Which is very, very careful. Now I want you to take them out of the office with you and incorporate them into your life.
Write them down.
Well, if it makes you comfortable, it's just too, but we find most people can't remember.
Okay,
You ready?
yes.
You're there.
Stop it. Rockets?
Yes, SGOP, new word, IT.
So what are you saying?
You know, it's funny. I say two simple words and I cannot tell you the amount of people who say exactly the same thing you're saying. I mean, this is not Yiddish, Catherine, this is English. Stop it.
So I should just stop it.
There you go.
I'm compelled to. My mom used to come and say,
No, we don't go there.
but I can think of these people.
No, we don't go there either.
But my horoscope did say.
We definitely don't go there. Yes, stop.
Good.
That's fine.
It's a little funny, right? Because I feel like things that
But it's true, yeah.
But it is true, right? So the reason why I show that is because people are always like, well, how do I, type the sugar? I mean, yes, you get rid of parasites, you get rid of toxins, all that stuff, but guys, just stop. Stop buying it, right? You walk into a grocery store, what's the first thing you see? Candy, pretzel, sugar, soda, all this crap, and you're like, and again, it's not all your fault, right? A lot of it is you are literally being conditioned and brainwashed to eating this stuff, right? Literally conditioned and brainwashed. You walk into a store and you're like, oh, well, it's just one bag. And what do? You put that one bag square in your face in your pantry, and every time you open that pantry, you're like, I can't get away from eating it. I wonder why. You stare at it all day long. And the parasite that's in your body knows it's there and is gonna say, hey, there's a packet of chip cookies right in that pantry, go eat them. Stop buying it. Just stop. I know it's hard, right? I get it. I know that a lot of this stuff is emotional, a lot of this stuff is deep, but if you stop, I can tell you, right? You used to be addicted to it. But the second I looked at myself, because a lot of this has to come from you wanting to, it can't just come from me saying, stop eating the damn sugar, right? It can't come from me. It has to come from you, right? And I believe you're all here because I want to make myself, my family, and our community better, okay? So stop it. And that goes with everything. You have a bad habit, just stop. Stop. Look at yourself in the mirror. Do you really want to get rid of it and grow? Or do you want to stay in that negativity? Do you want to stay in that imbalance in the body? Do you want to stay in that disharmony, right? Because what sugar does is it causes a massive disharmony in your body. Do you have a question?
It's a good question. You said it's a habit. Is it an addiction versus a habit?
I believe it's both. I believe the addiction actually was usually it's put onto you from your parents or, because we don't, until we deal with it as a family, that's not going anywhere, right? And then the habit comes from, oh, well, so the habit to me is just you're trying to justify something, right? As opposed to looking at yourself and going, I know, because we all know, can we all agree that sugar's not good for you? Can we agree to that, right? It's not good for you, right? It's a habit. It's a habit. You have cultivated this habit over time where you think you need it, but you don't need it. You want it. They're two different things. I'm here to show you that you don't need the thing, right? It's like any other addiction. You don't need it. You want it. And there's an emotional tie to that somewhere that we gotta dig deep and find, and also probably a toxin, okay? So that's sugar. Everyone take a deep breath.
How about like honey and stuff?
Great question. So yes, honey is a better alternative to typical sugar, right? It is still sugar, right? So this is what I said, right? In trying to get yourself off of sugar, this is what I have done, is I'll do, and most of you have done this as well, where you will buy like the CIK brand or certain brands to help you sort of again, this is what they just call them alternative, but it's still sugar though, right? So even though it's better for you, it is, right? The thing is that a lot of these things are still being so manipulated, so if you're not getting it from someone like a farmer who's doing like really good practice, or somewhere like supernatural, not supernatural, right? It's going, you don't know what you're getting. So what I try to just tell people is when you eat it, how do you feel? If you feel like it crashes your energy, maybe not a good sign, because that sugar, again, it crashes, it takes from the heart, it crushes the gut issue, right? So even though it's a better sugar, it's still sugar, right? I'd rather you use honey than a lot of other things, of course, but it's still sugar. That's my opinion.
Same thing you said about like, when you said fruit earlier, it's still sugar.
Yes.
So where's the fruit that has good sugar?
So again, this
There's no such thing.
no, I mean, there's good things as sugar. The problem is that we just have been eating sugar in mass proportion to the point where we don't know what it feels like to not eat sugar. Like we're so used to that sweetness as that reward that we don't know how to just go, okay, I've had enough, right? It's always like, again, it's like this deep conditioning of I need the sugar, I need the sugar. It's like, well, you really don't. And what you almost always do need is salt and protein and fat, right? Your body isn't sugar, your body's not a lettuce leaf. Your body's protein, salt, and fat, right? That is what your body is composed of. Now, this is not to say that you're not going to get like nutrients and vitamins and things like that from vegetables and fruits. But if you're eating, like, let me ask you this question. What season are we in right now? We're in fall going into winter. Are berries in this region available? So why are you going to the grocery store then and buying a thing of blueberries? It's like, that doesn't make sense to me, right? So to me, I go, unless it's obviously frozen or something, you're eating frozen blueberries or frozen berries at night, just for a little bit of like you're trying to wean yourself off of it, sure. This is where you collaborate as a team, because again, if you collaborate and you discuss these things together, we can get you out of that dysfunction, right? But until you own up to it and start to take some responsibility for your life, that's never gonna change, okay? So we're gonna transition now from sugar and we're gonna go into cholesterol, okay? Ooh, I said the word. Cholesterol, myth number one, cholesterol is public enemy number one. How many believe that? Wow.
I don't know what they do.
Ah, see, good.
I believe.
You do believe that, okay.
Probably,
Grew up believing it, you do believe it,
I was a nurse, I.
Yeah.
Practice. Think quickly.
realize, yes. So if cholesterol were the most important thing and we're in that important, we would all be in perfect health, crushing it all day long. Are we doing it? No. Right? So things your doctor isn't telling you about cholesterol, okay? Cholesterol is an antioxidant. Did you know that? It's an antioxidant. What do antioxidants do in the body? Fight disease, right? All disease. So I lower my cholesterol, there goes my immunity. Right? There goes all of my defense against these diseases, against these things environmentally that are killing us every single day, the food, the air, the water, all of that, right? People, really, okay? Cholesterol helps brain health. So people that have been working with me for a little while, when you first started with me, most of you probably ate a lot of greens and a lot of chicken and a lot of turkey. What do you eat now?
Beef,
Okay? How do you feel?
great.
Full.
Full, amazing, brain health, right?
Say
You're
that.
functioning, your brain, you actually have less brain fog, right? We've been taught, eat your vegetables, eat a lot of them. Who here, when they eat vegetables, well, I know I do, when I eat a lot of vegetables, I instantly get bloated, I instantly feel fat and disgusting, I don't like it, right? I don't. And many people can agree, right? Now, again, this is not to say don't eat a vegetable. This is just to say, I think what we've been told over the past 50 years is just a little bit inaccurate, right? We're not getting the full picture on food and nutrition, okay? So cholesterol helps brain health. It's an essential fatty acid that helps cognitive function. Cholesterol, just like the salt that you got today, salt is essential, it's an essential nutrient to your body. Every cell, every organ in your body needs salt. Why do you think, again, so in 1956, I believe is the year, is when they started putting in Morton's table salt and crushed salt. Everyone was like, anti-salt, no salt, we can't have salt, it kills, it makes your heart, all this stuff, right? People were afraid of salt.
Why do they do that? Why do they say it's big?
Why do you think?
Money.
Money.
See, you go like that because again,
And you know, that my body language there, not to be negative, it's just like I'm confused.
it's confusing because we've literally all been manipulated and brainwashed into this thought process that the salt is what's killing you.
But you do agree that more than salt is bad.
Terrible.
Okay, so they
Yes.
make that, and then
Yes.
the doctors and governments say salt is bad, but more.
But the problem was that they weren't telling you the full story. That's the problem. They were telling you salt in general, just a general statement, salt's bad.
Yeah.
But you can go get Celtic sea salt and Redmond sea salt, that's quality from the earth, super natural, super really just dense nutrient for you, right? The element that's in there, super rich sodium, that's so good for you. And anytime I drink it, and I know other people drink it, your brain is like, whoa, hello, I'm awake, I'm good, right? You have this energy that you couldn't even believe. But we're so used to salt, oh my gosh, why are you giving me sodium? This is terrible. Yes,
Quick question now, you're saying like with cholesterol, that we need cholesterol.
yes.
What's your barometer for low cholesterol versus high cholesterol, HDL versus the LDL, and your total cholesterol?
Yes, so I'm getting to
No,
that.
you're not, okay.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Good question. I just wanna kind of talk about this salt stuff really quickly because they put you into so much fear around cholesterol, salt, fat, red meat, all this stuff, right? Have you ever left your doctor going, I feel great today, I feel really good after that visit? Have you?
Well, some.
Maybe to a degree, right? Maybe somewhat.
I'll say no, however, I'm gonna guess that some people would say, well, that MD has gotta be smart, so I'm gonna make myself feel good.
Right, so like a little bit psychological,
Yeah.
you have to like manipulate yourself to kind of get there. And again, this is where I'm gonna say, I'm not saying all doctors are bad, I'm not saying that at all. There is a time and a place for doctor visits, there's a time and a place for that stuff, I'm not saying that. We're working towards preventative, you don't need to go to that, right? I can't tell you how many people anymore on social media see it all the time, I'm not even really on social media, but people send me this stuff all the time. I will never go to a doctor ever again for preventative healthcare, I will never ever go, I'll never do it again. Unless I get into a car accident, break my hip or break my bone or have whatever, I'll never ever do it. It's because they manipulate you into thinking that you don't have power over your own body, and you do. You do, I strongly believe that. You all, most of you that have seen me, have more power in the past year than you've ever felt in your life, correct? So, this is what I'm trying to tell you, is that you go into a doctor's office and they pump you full of these scammy drug or blood tests saying, oh, you need to get a blood test so we can check that for you. I'm not saying blood tests are bad. What I'm saying is you're not getting the full picture of what that blood test is showing you, right? That blood test, do you even know if it's healthy versus unhealthy people that are getting tested for that? Do you know?
What's the question?
Do you know, when you get that blood test, is that test, the barometer, the value of what they put on that number, is that healthy people? Or is it sick people? Because I can tell you, I've done the research, and it's sick people. They're gauging your cholesterol score off of sick people, not off of healthy people, right? I've never gotten a cholesterol test in my life, felt the best I ever felt. If I went to a doctor's office right now, they'd probably tell me, I need to get on cholesterol medicine, and why do you think they'd want to put you on cholesterol? What is cholesterol medicine the precursor to? Anybody know? Yes, but what else? What are they trying to get you to? If anybody online knows this answer, you can reach out.
Well, to get cholesterol medicine.
Yes, so the answer doesn't seem to be no, they wanna get you on a statin.
I'm
Oh,
on that.
that's what I meant by snacks.
Yes, they want to get you on a statin drug. That is their precursor to your cholesterol blood test. Let me get you on a statin fast. And why? Money.
So,
It's all about
so
money.
Matt, you know, massive heart attack
Yes.
years ago, and on statin, you told me to get off of it, and then.
Well, I didn't tell you to get off of it. I can't tell you
How
that.
about the other one,
Okay, Robert,
Not even real quick, the doctor said when he said stay on statin, and he said my cholesterol level, I don't know which one 35 minutes. It's the average, but he said, we're gonna still put you on, and even their cholesterol was high.
That's interesting.
They were his words.
Yeah.
Verbatim.
I mean, that's interesting, right? Do you guys all hear that? The question, oh, well, we're just gonna keep you on. My brain goes to, well, why? And I just ask questions, because I think, again, the healthier you get, you start asking yourself, like, wait a second. Huh? Like, that doesn't even make sense to me, right? And again, it's not, I hate to tell you this, guys, but doctors just don't know. They're not trained on nutrition. They're not trained on preventative. They're trained on making money and on getting you so sick that you can't live a full life. They want to take your power from you so that you no longer can exist, that you're dead on the ground. I don't want that. My dad, for any of you who don't know, my dad died from a massive heart attack like this. He was a pharmacist, he was hardcore in medical world, he believed in it, but he was hardcore and inundated with it, and guess what? Killed him. Now, obviously, there's other effects, probably the stress, he was a provider, he was traveling all the time. I'm not saying that's like the only thing, right? It's never just one thing. However, it was definitely part of it. He was popping baby aspirin and bear aspirin every single solitary day. My cousin's gonna attest to it. Had a little stash in his office desk. He would take it every single day.
Well, I think it
I know.
was a lot. Well, he knows.
I do. The problem with aspirin and with all those drugs is that they cause gut dysbiosis. They really every time you take one, it blows a hole into your gut, right? So all the nutrients that you could eat, the healthiest you ever want, it won't matter. Because all those nutrients are just going into your bloodstream and affecting your heart and pulling energy from the heart. It's also a massive chemical load, right? There's glyphosate, there's herbicides, there's pesticides, there's parasites. They put tons of things in those medications to make you sick. Okay? That's why you don't have energy. Most people don't have energy when they take those things, right? It's a band-aid to the deeper issue. Okay. So low cholesterol puts your brain, when you go low, how many of you can attest to this? You go low, you don't eat the animal fat, you don't eat the good fats, you don't eat your salt. Your brain function is like low. And I'm talking like brain fog, like you wouldn't believe. But we're taught, eat the sugar, eat all this stuff, right? Lower your cholesterol, you'll feel better. I don't see that. I don't clinically see that in practice. I see people, they start eating red meat, they start eating the salt, eating the fat, getting toxicity out, getting toxic people out of their life, and all of a sudden they're like, where is this going? This is amazing. Okay. So everything, in my opinion, just my opinion, is in the doctoral system, medical world, is all about money. They don't really want you healthy, because then they wouldn't make money. Notice how, like, when you guys start getting healthy, you're like, I don't really feel like I need to go to the doctor. I just feel really good. And even though it's like, yeah, it's a little bit more of an investment because you're having supplementation, guess what? You are making more money than you ever have. You are bringing in more people into your life than you ever have, and your network gets larger and larger. I can attest to it. I have seen more people in my life in this business in the past year, 2 years, since getting myself healthy. Okay, my income went up, my positivity went up, my consciousness went up, my energy went up. I'm still getting chills about it because it's just so impactful when you start to get healthy, right? You're pooping every day. How many of y'all are pooping every day? Wow, okay.
And I take cholesterol medicine.
I love it, that's funny. Okay. So I just wanna make sure I get to everything. So, the major cause of why you have high cholesterol, or why this cholesterol thing is even there, right? Not high cholesterol, why the cholesterol is off, is seed oils, right? Canola oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, all these oils. These are the things, the sugar, these are the things that cause the plaque in your arteries. It's not the animal fat, the good quality fat, right? People talk about LDL all the time, they talk about low cholesterol, high cholesterol, what's the score, what's the this? To be honest with you, I don't really care. And that's not to be rude. There's always a bigger picture to me, right? I'm looking at big picture. I'm looking at, okay, well, what are you doing in your daily life to make that cholesterol to not feel right? Or did someone tell you, oh, this is bad? Well, why is it bad? Oh, we just know that it's bad. But in my brain that goes, but that's not an answer for me. What's wrong with having high cholesterol? See what I mean? Yeah,
Just a quick question with that, if you're genetically predisposed
so where did the genetic predisposition come from?
from your parents,
Yes,
correct?
why, what, so this is where I'm gonna say to you, you can still take back your power, and I'm telling you, how? I'm asking the question, how do you
And I'm
think you do
gonna kind of push back a little bit.
Sure, please.
Because my husband's father died young,
Mhm.
his brother died young, my husband has had a heart attack.
Mhm.
Our son is now on cholesterol and he eats healthy,
Mhm.
and he went off the cholesterol medicine just to play the game
Sure,
to see what's gonna happen to him,
sure,
and his cholesterol went back up.
but why is high cholesterol bad?
Well, because, I mean, so we're not,
Told this,
with,
or,
right,
or
You're
the
told.
disease.
You're told,
I don't know, I can't, my history is, it must be.
I realize that, and the point I'm trying to make is, yes, it is genetic if you think about it, but the problem is that all the genetic is toxicity. That's the root problem of the high cholesterol.
You're saying you could break that chain of genetics?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it in people.
In the sources we have listed on the pamphlet you got, they talk a lot about the LDL levels and all those
Yes.
things. If you wanted to look further into
Yeah.
it, we do provide that for you.
So I'm not, I totally understand that you have that genetic predisposition. What I'm just saying to you is, if we start altering, and we have to, this is where I go, we need to look at, well, what was your family eating? What was your family doing? Because it's all toxicity, right? It's, if you look at it, back in the 50s, 60s, even the 40s, I think, and what did I have on here, Anna, from the, like the Eisenhower era.
That's in the 50s. I think.
Right, 50s, they had Crisco, they were eating margarine, they were eating all those things, right?
the only thing I'm gonna say is my husband's father was born in Italy.
Okay,
Okay, he went to Italy, his grandmother cooked for him
okay,
as her, quote, son, so to speak.
sure.
And I think she cooked healthy, I think she cooked in butter.
Butter,
Oh,
oil.
yeah.
Olive oil.
They
So,
did
but,
not use,
but what we're learning about olive oil is that when you cook olive oil, you use it as a cooking agent and as a cooking oil,
okay,
it actually causes cancer.
But butter doesn't.
Butter doesn't because it has a higher cooking point. So those olive oils is why I tell you all, cooking butter, cooking coconut oil, cooking avocado oil, it has a higher smoking point, right? That olive oil is really just meant for dressing, right? It's meant to flavor food with.
the versus the cooking versus the free.
You got it, you got it, yeah.
Got it.
So again,
Just,
I think it's great, you're asking
I just
fantastic
think-
questions.
and you know how much I,
You
Yeah.
research and yes, and I appreciate the challenge.
because
think
I'm
it's
trying
great.
to understand someone, because we talked about Italy, because there's no pesticide.
So yes, that's true, however, that doesn't mean that they still have parasites. We're never gonna run from parasites, right? This is something that people need to understand. Yes, you're getting rid of them. In every other country but ours, they do what's called a blowout every 3 to 6 months. When was the last time your family did a blowout?
What does that mean?
Never.
Out.
So you're saying that's a European thing?
Yeah, well, and it's actually more like an African thing. They do it in a lot of all the African
Wow.
countries.
Jamaica's very.
Right, Jamaica, all those places, they literally do parasite cleanses every 3 to 6 months because they know that's the leading cause of all these diseases, right? Cancer, all heart attack, all of it, right? So this is where I'm gonna push back to you, my dear, is to say that I hear you,
Mhm.
however, we, in our country, we didn't even know about parasites till like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden it's making this big, huge thing because we're finding out all these other countries that don't use it they're doing parasite cleanses, right? They are.
So when I brought up the D word in front of my cardiologist, man, he fell out of his chair. And he went, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they know.
He said, there's
Can
no
you share your
parasite.
story really fast?
Absolutely. I had like gut problems probably for like 10 years and just could not figure out what was going on. And
You speak up a little bit.
the October, last year, so a year ago. I got a endoscopy done. And I had gone back in, I think it was like August
August, I
maybe,
think,
yes, which was like after 3 months of being with him, and I'd known about parasites. And I was kind of like, the first thing he noticed was like parasites food in your gut. They pulled up my endoscopy scan and they had told me like it wasn't gluten, it wasn't lactose, it wasn't any of that stuff. So she's like, do you want to see your scan? And I was like, absolutely. So we scroll down and it says results, and in the top results, she almost like went past it, and I was like, stop. I was like, does that say parasites? And she was like, oh yeah, unknown parasitic bacteria and it's present, and parasites present in small intestines. And I said, so you weren't gonna tell me that? And I said, because I go to a functional medicine, and I said, that was the first thing you told me. So if I never came and asked on that scan, you would have never told me I had them in there. She's like, well, we don't really know how to get rid of them.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
I literally called him on the way home.
She did. I got pulled on myself too.
Yeah, because- Crazy. And I was
My
like,
doctor
"You
did,
it out, put it on the
my
back."
doctor didn't look at my, whatever that
Yeah.
procedure was you did, I don't know if I had one of those, but he said, I guess I know. I did. But he just doesn't wanna talk about it, he goes, well, parasites, they're animals, you don't want it, and you don't make those in your body.
That's just-
Because they're told. Yeah, they wrap around your heart, they wrap around your,
Well,
the,
it's like avoiding that conversation.
he doesn't know.
And I asked my doctor about cholesterol, and I said, well, did you change, I know there's a different kind of blood test. Have you evolved from past till now, and is that what you're grading for people? And he's just shot me right down.
Wow.
Like, basically, you don't know what you're talking about, no.
So they don't wanna hear you, because what they're trained on is you getting on medicine, that's all they do.
And on making money.
But also, whatever, the health organization, or whoever, brought the cholesterol levels down. If you look at what the cholesterol level was, over 300 and so forth, they brought those levels down. And now, if you're above that 200 or something, they say, oh my gosh, but really, so many years ago, a couple decades ago, that was like high in 300s. And that's a huge difference, and now they just want you to put you on the medicine.
You can say,
I'm just a strong believer that you have to be your own health advocate.
I agree.
And the reason I'm saying that is, in 2003, when you moved down here, we went to the doctor and she said, oh, you're pre-diabetic. So she sent me to the clinic, the Westchester, whatever, for all the nutrition, the testing.
Yep.
And how to understand, now you're gonna go on, insulin, or, wait a minute. The nurse there went through such a wonderful job of saying, if you don't read everything on your blood work and everything that we put down there, she said, you're missing it. So I question.
I'm not saying that all doctors, this is where I'm saying, I'm not saying all doctors are bad, I'm not
I'm
saying,
not, I know
Yeah.
you're not, but what I'm saying is that you have to
you
understand
do.
what, that they're saying to you and go back and research.
And to your point, I think over the past couple of years, maybe 30 years, we've just gotten so complacent on doing that research, right? We don't look at, I want you guys to look at things that I give you too, right? I don't want you to just take my word for it. Now, granted, the results are in, I can't deny that, but I'm not here to just be like, go do it, right? Look it up. I did that work for 10 years, right? With my dad, all that stuff, I did all that work because I was like, something's not right. Something is just not right here, okay? I wanna show that video, we're gonna show a quick video on cholesterol and why it is so important to have good healthy cholesterol, okay? My theater root's coming in high for this, right?
Yep. Do we have to turn
I'll
the
get
lights
to
off?
Fat and cholesterol cause heart disease comes from 1952 from the diet heart hypothesis. The hypothesis is not the truth. It's only an idea. It has to be proven. To prove a hypothesis takes a long time. Science doesn't work fast. And while science was working on this hypothesis, the governments in the Western world have fully committed to it. The media taught it a new breakthrough, that this is the truth. And all sorts of commercial companies jumped on the bandwagon. Pharmaceutical industry is making billions on this hypothesis. Food industry is making billions. Medical industry is making billions. Western governments are making billions. It has been proven wrong for the last 30 years. But because our political and commercial machine has committed to this hypothesis, they work very hard not to allow the population to know the truth. That dietary cholesterol and animal fats have nothing to do with heart disease. Low blood cholesterol is dangerous. Low blood cholesterol, we'll talk more about it, not high blood cholesterol. Old people who have high levels of cholesterol have 100% here, no dementia, no Alzheimer's disease. They're healthy, they're sprightly, and they look after themselves, these people. So when you start reducing blood cholesterol levels, you're putting brain under grave danger. Because brain has cell regeneration processes going on all the time. Cells in the brain do die and they get replaced by newly born cells. These processes are very active. And these new baby cells need building materials to be made from. They have to be made from cholesterol, saturated fats, proteins, glyconutrients, and some other things, but a large percent is fat and cholesterol. And if the blood cholesterol is low, the brain is not getting enough to maintain its structure and to function properly. People with low blood cholesterol have aggressive personalities and poor self-control. Because in order to form memories in the brain, synapses have to be formed. The cells in the brain have long arms. They grow long arms to communicate with each other. And when the two arms of two cells come together, they have to do this. They have to create a synapse here and a synapse here, and they have to connect. Now the synapses are almost exclusively made out of cholesterol and saturated fat. If your blood cholesterol is low, that is the only place your brain can get cholesterol from. It can manufacture some, but not enough. Then the brain can't form these synapses. So the cells cannot connect with each other. As a result, the person cannot create memories. And it is the short-term memory that suffers. The person might remember what happened in the childhood, because those synapses were formed in the childhood, but he doesn't remember what he had for breakfast, and where he put his car keys, or where he left his hat, or his shoes, or something else. The short-term memory is not being formed, because the brain doesn't have enough built-in materials, resources, to create memories. People with low blood cholesterol suffer from infections 3 times more, and they die from infections much more often than people with normal and high level of cholesterol. We cannot fight infections without cholesterol. Every cell, about 70% of every cell are membranes. So you can do the calculations yourself. What percent of your body is actually cholesterol? Unsaturated fat. It is more than 50%. You are made from cholesterol. It is a structural element of every cell in your body. And you are made from saturated fats. And because the cells in the
I didn't catch her name there, Matt. Natasha.
Dr. Natasha
And we'll send it. to you.
Campbell
So you guys
McBride.
have the video.
The whole video is so good. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of share some of it with you. I didn't want to share the whole thing. It's about 15 minutes long. But the point that I'm trying to show you is your brain, like she said, your brain suffers, right? You gain weight. You aren't eating things that are healthy. And can you just turn one more light on? I think I turned one too many off. Thank you. So in that video, she talks about eating more red meat. She talks about animal protein. She talks about how our bodies are made up of protein, of fat. You heard it, saturated fat, right? What do they deem terrible for you 50 years ago? Saturated fat. They said stop eating butter, stop eating red meat, stop eating oil, and they said start eating your rapeseed oil, your canola oil, your vegetable oil. And what happened? We had gut dysbiosis. We are the fattest we've ever been in our nation's history. The fattest. I'm not trying to be rude. I was fat too. We are the fattest we've ever been in our nation's history. And it's because we're not looking at these little tiny things. You go out to eat. If you're not aware enough to go, hey, I'm allergic to that, I can't eat canola oil or soybean oil. Guess what? You just did yourself a service for the next week. Because I can tell you, I've gone out going out with you, I've gone out I've gone out with my cousins. And every time I don't say, hey, no canola oil, I have a headache the next day, my gut is on fire, and I sleep like junk. Every single time, yes,
Well, one time you called and they said, we can't do that for you, sorry, we can't make it for you.
Yeah.
Because all of our oil
it's soybean,
is soybean and canola oil right now.
I work at a fancy country club,
show that, yeah, share that.
and I was stocking food one day and they cut the extra virgin olive oil with canola oil, all of it, with everything that they use.
Cheaper.
It's
It's cheap.
cheaper, they can buy it in bulk, it's a lot
And I
easier
can
for
tell
them
you
to
too,
manage.
they don't know. So it's not their fault, they don't know. I told a server when I was in Dallas 2 weeks ago about it, I was like, yeah, I can't, I'm allergic to canola, she's like, what? I was like, I'm allergic to canola oil, she was like, what do you mean? I said, actually, everyone in this room is allergic to canola oil. And she was like, what are you talking about? And I told her a little bit about it, the next day, we had to go there for dinner, and I had a new server. And she literally said, she went up to my new server and said, make sure you don't use canola oil, he's allergic to it, and I was like, good. Because she's, again, the better we get at educating people, and the less afraid we are of saying canola oil, soybean oil, all these things, restaurants are gonna start to go, well, I'm gonna lose my customer if I don't start using these better, at least have the option of having that better oil, right? Yeah,
I wanna add something. A lot of people really have to read if you're buying olive oil in this particular.
area, yeah.
When you read, it's where it's sourced, so if it's sourced here, they cut it, the olive oil, but other ingredients, whereas if it's sourced from one particular place, either Italy or.
Spain, yeah,
Greece. But it's a trek because they cut all the olive oil.
So I don't know if people on Zoom heard that, but they cut your olive oil, if it's made in America, they cut it with other vegetable oils, so making sure that you get your olive oil or any oils from a different country, sourced from a
It's
different
called
country.
single origin, the
Single
same
origin,
with coffee and
Yes.
things, you have to buy single origin.
yes, but they don't have to tell you, but it's, a lot of it though, is that they just don't know. They are so blind to knowing, restaurants especially, they just want to make money, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
For the problem.
Exactly, there's nothing wrong with that, I get it. However, if they at least can have that alternative, that's where I go, well, thank you, right? They at least had the butter, they had a way to make it better for me, so I at least appreciate the fact that they're trying to have. For people that know, right? That's where I go, bravo, right? So I'm just trying to help you guys understand that it's not just like, it's, again, we get into this picture, and I think we've been doing it for a long time, where we focus so hard on the cholesterol. I'm trying to help you all realize and start to broaden your horizons to, it's not just the cholesterol is a byproduct of everything else in your life that you're doing. It's never just one thing. Predispositions, there's been a toxicity issue in your family for a long time. That's why that exists. The parasites actually cause these things to not function in your body because they eat your neurotransmitters. They cause you to think things that you're not, I mean, truly, like there's research on that, right? And I can again send that to you guys if you'd like me to, but there is so much research that supports parasitic diseases and infection and the rise of cholesterol, the cause of a lot of high blood pressure and all these other, again, chronic diseases. But in our country, it's on the rise. People don't know about parasites. We're not educated on that, right? We've had parasites in our bodies since I was born, you were born, and we're just now starting to get that out. So when people are like, well, how long am I gonna be on this? How long have you been alive? I mean, you've been alive for 60, 70 years. You're gonna be on it for a minute because you have so much work. I have so much work. I'm still working on getting parasites out of my body, and I've been doing it for almost 3.5 years. It's a long time. So this, what I will say, is it's not a quick fix, and we've been led this belief of quick fix, quick fix, quick fix. It's never a quick fix to true health, right? Especially preventative health. But our doctors, again, they don't know. This is where I feel for them, is that they just don't know. They're only pushed medicine. They're only pushed the pill. They're pushed symptom, here's a pill for it. They're not pushed symptom, well, what's the deeper reason? That's where I work. What's the real reason for that symptom, right? For that headache. Instead of, here, take this cholesterol pill, it's your cholesterol. Well, how can you even know that? How can you make such a fast decision on that? Even when I test you all, my decision's not fast, I'm going through, I mean, we're going through massive detail on that, right? And as the body continues to heal and get better, your body's opening up and saying, well, now I'm actually ready to heal this and deal with this next part. You're only starting at the beginning, and I'm saying the beginning is just one layer of the onion. You still have 18 layers to go to get to the rest of the onion, right? You might think you feel great. Good, you start to feel really good, and then guess what? Your body's like, hey, now we can deal with this thing over here, because this is really the reason for that high cholesterol, or for that cholesterol issue, or that heart issue. Does that make sense? So it's never just fix that issue, now I'm done. No way. I'm still dealing with gut stuff. My gut was screwed up since I was 18 years old, probably right? Because of all the stuff I did to it, all the things I put into my body. Again, this is not me preaching to you, it's me caring so deeply about you guys being healthy and understanding your body to give you your power back, as opposed to you always needing a doctor, right? A doctor should be in an emergency case, even if they put you on a quick drug, it should be for a couple weeks, it shouldn't be a lifetime of drugs for the rest of your life. What is that? That's not health, that's literally, oh, I can be on a drug for the rest of my life? What is going on? And then we wonder why we're in such disarray, okay? So that's cholesterol. Everyone take a deep breath. Okay. We're gonna enter into the emotional side. Did you guys know that emotions are one of the it's like, I would say, in my opinion, the third leading cause of why we are so hurt and so damaged, and why our hearts can't do the job that they need to do? It's emotional. Emotional trauma, abuse on all fronts, okay? Psychological abuse, there could have been an accident. My dad's passing was massively traumatic for me. Didn't even know it because I stepped it down and my body just retreated, and literally I could have put anything into my body for the 3.5, 4 years after my dad passed away, and I never would have digested it. And it's because it was in such a space of malfunction and dis-ease and disarray that I literally could not get it to support. I always felt like this deep, like, pain in my chest. So we all think food, exercise, diet, all that. We all think about supplementation, right? We think, oh, it's gonna fix it, right? The thing that people aren't seeing, and I went to this seminar a couple weeks ago, they drilled emotion. And the reason why is because we're seeing in practice clinically, if you do not deal with emotions, you will never get rid of toxicity to the extent that you should. And it's because those emotions in your body act as a frequency, right? So your body's a frequency, okay? Think about a ball of energy in your body, right? It's negative, it's not good, it's not a good emotion, right? Let's say you have a thing, a parasite, mold, something in that, and what's protecting that is that negative emotion, and it's just in there. It's not, you have anger or bitterness or something in there, right? If that's in there, guess what's never coming out? The toxin that's in the center. And I can attest to it because 6 months ago, when I started doing a lot of emotional release on myself, I tell you right now, I have been doing parasite cleanses for 3 years before that. I have never seen things come out of my body at such a fast rate as I started to get rid of this negative, and I'm not kidding. I'm not even trying to be disgusting, it's fact. I have seen it. I've seen it in your mom, right? I tested in my aunt the other day. I tested my aunt the other day. She was like, Matt, I'm so scared around playing pickleball, right? Pickleball, of all things, not the toxin, not the thing, right? Pickleball. So I was like, something tells me, because I had such an instinct, right? Something tells me this is emotion. So I started doing some testing on her, and sure enough, she had like 4 or 5 emotions. The next day, we cleared that night. The next day, my mom called me and she said, your aunt was so positive, she wasn't negative at all. She wasn't self-deprecating, she was having such a good time, and I was like, something to this, right? So all I'm saying is, we can't negate the negative emotion. And I know, okay, this is what I'm gonna tell you, emotions are inherited from our parents, from their parents. Right? This can be generational, right? You could have anger from your mom's dad, 1700s, and you don't even know it, because how would you know that, right? But your body does. Your body doesn't know, okay? through muscle testing, your body does know these emotions, okay? So you start to release those emotions from either inherited, maybe you absorbed it from somebody, because any empaths in here? Anybody? Empath? Yep, okay. If you're empathetic, you care a lot about people, you have that innate feeling and person in you to take on other people's stuff, right? That is natural for us. I'm gonna tell you, the biggest word for you is boundaries. You need to start putting up boundaries for yourself, because you will always take on other people's stuff. I've learned it this year, and whoo, it was challenging at first. Now I'm like, bye, you're done, right? I don't have time for it, because it just affects me so much, right? So not only are they absorbed, then you make them for yourself. You have bitterness towards somebody, you have this towards somebody, and guess what? You have those things towards people, it's still a negative emotion inside of you that is causing you to not release, to not live a joyful, happy, optimal, thriving life. So it's not just the food, it's not just the seed oil, it's not just the cholesterol, these are all parts of the system, right? We are taught from the medical world, again, not to knock the medical world, but we are taught to not look at the whole system of the body. We're told to look at symptoms. We're told to look at, let's band-aid, let's put this on that, let's all take some vitamin D. Vitamin D is not the issue. It's part of a bigger problem. Okay? We're just taught to throw a vitamin, right? I can tell you right now, the binders you all are on, I learned this over the weekend, it's super cool. The binders that you all are on are we're starting to see it, the leads of Cellcore are starting to see that it is actually a multivitamin, which is super cool. Because we're getting nutrients from carbon, from the earth, from soil, and that's going straight into your body. And it's acting as all those nutrients. I thought I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So we just saved so much money, right? So it's not just let's be effective and get the toxins out. You're also putting in nutrients that you can't even think of. And that's why you feel so much better. Does that make sense? So making sure I'm covering all my bases here. So emotions, we covered that, right? The frequency of negative emotions can cause a lot of problems in the body. Then we have mindset, right? How many of you guys say to yourself when you hear someone cough or you have somebody in your family that's sick? I put that in quotes, sick. You're gonna get me sick! Anybody? Don't lie, I know y'all do it, don't lie. Yeah. Right? COVID. Guess what? You're bringing it on yourself. You don't like that, do you? You bring that upon yourself. I was on a plane recently, and I had this woman hacking up a lung next to me. And in my head, I went, get it out, girl, go ahead. Get it out. Doesn't bother me, get it out. We're taught germs, ew. Okay, I'm not gonna go into germ theory because that's a little too much right now, but I am gonna say, you, by saying, ugh, you're afraid, what do? Your body goes into fear, it goes into scare, it goes into, oh, no, I don't wanna get that. What happens to your immune system? Straight down. And what happens? You then get that sickness. You asked for it. You don't think that because you don't wanna take responsibility, you wanna blame other people for your sickness. It's on you. Again, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's on you. And guess what? I can guarantee you probably drank wine the night before, had some sugary thing the night before, and then you're blaming it on so-and-so over here, but it's not her fault, it's your fault. You literally, sickness is a frequency, right? I'm starting to learn this, and it's fascinating. I will show you the research on it. We are starting to physically, your body, because it's a frequency, right? You can literally attract sickness to your body. Aggressive. Right? Boom, thank you, right? You can literally attract it frequency energetically to your body. All a virus is an exosome. It's exhaust, right? It's cellular death coming out of somebody else's body. So what that is that I'm here, I'm coughing, that's cellular death coming out of my body. And if I'm over here healthy, but oh my gosh, that person's coughing and I'm scared of it, that is literally, I'm like saying, yep, I want it now. That's what's happening. But we're so conditioned to, ew, stay away from me. You're doing it to yourself. This is the truest form of accountability and responsibility of your own health. is responsibility and taking ownership and sitting in your own stuff and going, what if you thought for a second, for that split second when you think the negative thought of, "Ooh, I don't wanna get sick," what if you thought, what if you took your power back and you just went, so you know what, I feel really good right now. Your body, I just got full chills, your body would be like, I'm good. So when people are like, Matt, how often do you get sick? I might get sick once a year, maybe. Once a year. People, you're crazy, that's not true. It is true, because I don't inherently think my body wants to get sick. Do you guys think your bodies naturally want to be sick? No, your body wants to thrive. Your body wants to optimally work. But you need to think of all these, this is a mindset thing, a mindset shift, where when you start taking accountability and responsibility for your own body and taking your power back, everything starts to shift. Everything. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot to take in, but I trust me, it does. So mindset, we talked about emotions, we talked about how your organs will literally hold in and wreak havoc on your system. Okay, so if you do not release that stuff, which we can do here, if you do not release that stuff, it will always be with you. And you will never make it to that next place in your life and that next level in your health. And it's easy. You don't need to go get some like $80,000 thing, come in and stick you up in the butt, none of that, you don't have to do any of that, right? It's frequency, your body is so intelligent, we don't give it the power that it deserves, okay? I wanna play a couple little snippets of just some emotional stuff, just so you guys can understand it. Before I do that, does anybody have any questions on what I just talked about? I know it's a lot. I know it can be a little significant, but. Yes,
I would just like to say, you told me about the accountability when you get sick, you know, versus like when you're around someone who has a cough or something. Hung out with a friend this past week, she said, "Oh, are you comfortable being around me? I've been sick, and I said, "I'm good." And she was hacking up a lung, we were sitting there, like, you know, talking over lunch, she's hacking up a lung, and I was fine. How many days later, I'm fine. It's mindset.
it is
When you
mindset.
told me that, it kind of just clicked for me, how many times I've gotten myself sick, it's here, so.
And again, I'm not trying to say this is gonna be a quick fix for some of you. Some of you, it's like a deep, like 70-year, con that you can't heal your own body, that you're gonna just bring all this onto you. I'm not gonna sit here and try and do that, but I am just planting that seed for you. No, you have more power than you think you do, yes.
But I think it also is the fact, if someone's, coughing or whatever, I think it's the stress that you put on yourself. It basically comes back. to
Right, fear and
Oh my
stress.
God. Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Stressed out
And your body goes down.
about what happened.
Right, that's a great point.
You're confident in your community and you're doing things to offset and support your own system.
Yeah, it's so true. Again, positive, right? If you're, and I'm not saying always be positive, I understand life happens, but if you're in a space all the time where you're like, if you're not in a positive space or in a happy space, that's, if you can just own, that's my stuff, it's not anybody else's stuff, you'll start to go, oh, okay, I'm bringing this on to me, like this is my own junk, right? If we can get to that space of accountability, again, this is like the biggest word for me this year, and I think just in our world right now, there's no accountability, and then we wonder why we're all over the place, because no one's taking responsibility for their own stuff. And we're seeing it more and more, especially in my generation, your generation, all, the younger, we're starting to see, people are starting to go, I'm taking responsibility for my life now. I'm doing it, for me, because I know how powerful I am, right? We all have more power than we think we do, we've just been so brainwashed to think we don't have that anymore. It's not on us, okay?
Lights.
Eye down on our jaw. When we go to clench up on our eyes.
Hold on.
Never hit the sun.
And from our body. We have to be able to teach our bodies how to let go. You see, our body's been so used to holding on to emotions because we're so used to being tense. We've done it our whole entire life. And The part about that is we never knew it was that thing. We never knew that every time when we tense up, when we clench up our fists, when we clench up our feet, when we clench up our stomach because we want to look thinner, when we bite down on our jaw, when we go and clench up on our eyes, we never knew that all of these actions, these habits were actually suppressing our ability to feel the emotions and stuff. We have to retrain the body to let go. That's why doing daily practice is so important. Don't wait for a perfect time to start. Do it today. Even a short practice is gonna be able to move you forward towards feeling more calm, more at ease.
More youthful and stay young.
Hold on.
It's looking.
So we didn't talk about fascia, but this is just a brief discussion on fascia for you to understand it.
Fascia and get it clear and flowing, that we've been actually doing cancer and autoimmune issues, and yeah, so it's really exciting. We're just at the beginning. There was a New York Times article that came out a few weeks ago, basically saying that fascia is the missing piece for true wellness and wholeness. And the reason why I'm so excited about it now, I've been studying this now for 15 years. But now, because of the new research, and now we know that there's so many more connections to it, that it's affecting us physically, emotionally, and energetically, because now we know that the meridians from Chinese medicine are in fascia. There's science on that now. And so that means we're affecting our chi, our life force energy, when we work with the tissues and our fascia. And I like to call fascia the Wi-Fi of our insides. Because what it's doing is sending and receiving information, light, sound, vibration, frequency. It's also helpful, really responsible for removing cellular waste, because it's essentially the pump for the lymphatic system. And it's also helping how we get hydration in our tissue. So if anyone is looking for ways to feel more youthful and stay younger, it's working.
Sign me up.
So I know we didn't really talk about fascia, but it is something that I do. I've been doing it for about 5 years now, or 4 years now. I've seen insane progress with people when they start to do fascia work. Fascia work can be a little scary and a little daunting because you are releasing stuff, right? Emotional work can be a little daunting because you are releasing and you're getting to things that possibly are a little uncomfortable, and I realize that, right? But this is a place where we want you to be able to go through that, right? The more you go through it, you're gonna find health on the other side. The beginning stages are always the hardest, and I want you all to realize that even though it's hard, I know it's hard, I've done it for 15 years, it's not always cute, right? Health isn't always cute, it's not always pretty, right? I'm sure some of you, I know some of us can attest to that, right? It isn't always cute, it's not always pretty, but on the other side of that work that you do on a daily basis, let's be real, health should be a thing that you work on every day. This isn't like, got it, now I'm done. No, it's a constant practice. And I think we get into this space sometimes where we think, I'm gonna take a supplement for a couple months and then I'm done. Or I'm gonna do it for 2 days and then I'm done. Guess what? With the amount of toxicity that we've been dealing with, the exposure we've been dealing with, and our emotional side that we haven't dealt with at all, there's no to me, it's obvious as to why we are where we are. And all I'm trying to do is not manipulate, it's not to control, it's not to do anything, it's literally just to help you and facilitate your health so that you can therefore become the owner of this vessel, that you can therefore be free and start making educated actions towards your health so that you're not in this place of being stuck. I would love for people to come in and go, something is wrong, what's the cause? And your body will say, it's emotional, it's physical, it will say that, it will tell me that, right? It does. Your body is so smart, but we have been told you need a doctor in order to get to that destination. Health's not a destination, it's a journey, it's a practice, it's not a destination. So the more we can get mentally out of this place of destination, oh, I made it, and to, Oh, I see, it's a journey, it's constant, it's ever evolving, ever moving, okay? How are we feeling right now? It's a lot, I know it's a lot, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a short little 5-minute break. Come back, we can do a little Q&A, I'm gonna do some testing up here for anyone who's brave enough to either do, we're gonna do muscle testing of emotions, if anyone wants to do that, we're gonna do some muscle testing of nutrients and just see where the body's at. If anyone has interest in that, you're welcome to stay. If you don't, totally understand if you have other things to do, but just wanted to say thank you. Take a little short break. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now it's a Q&A for everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would practically my good. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so. So she's testing for sadness, okay? So are we ready to release this? Yes. So we're gonna ask the body, how many generations of sadness in the family? Is it 1 generation, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? So 5 generations of sadness that's been impacting her body, right? So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a magnet, because we don't want that emotion just flowing everywhere, right? We wanna get it out and magnetize it, pull it with the magnet so that's gone, right? So I'm gonna go, because it was an inherited emotion, it's a longer, it's been in the body for a lot longer, right? So we're gonna go for 10 swipes over her head in the last room. Sorry. And some people, not everybody, but some people experience a little chill, they might experience a little like electricity kind of through their body, that kind of thing, not all, but some people. Oh. Really.
Starting to sweat.
So what is sweating?
Emotion release.
It's a release, right? You're releasing stuff, right? It's your body, it's one of your body's natural releasing mechanisms. So, was that emotion of sadness released from her lung? Yes. Okay, all from a magnet. Who knew, right? In your body. Okay. Do you want any more emotions to be released right now? Not right now. Okay.
Can you sell that magnet?
Magic magnet. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else that we need to test right now? Does she want an organ test? Does she want a resonance test? Resonance, okay. So what resonance means is this is a new skill in practice, right? So organ testing, which most of you have been through, is literally me just kind of going through the body and seeing what's going on, right? This new level of testing is where I have frequencies of vitals, right? Because your body is what? Frequency, right? These are all frequencies matched through CellCore, so CellCore owners, right? They actually put the frequency of each one of these things in the vial, right? So people are like, that's just water. I'm like, you believe whatever you want. Okay? I know that this is a frequency, right? There's frequencies of, let's say, Lyme disease, parasites, mold, okay? Frequencies of these things in these vials, okay? So what I'm gonna do is on a, let's see, so we're gonna go, I'm just gonna kind of briefly go through and just see if. No, because that you would test for everything, and I don't want testing for everything. So let's see, is there anything from here? No, so nothing Lyme. Is there anything from here? No. Is there anything from here? Bingo, parasite. Okay, and now we're gonna go, is it anything here? Here? So she's testing for ropeworm, which is a parasite, okay? So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go around her body with this vial and see where is that parasite hanging out, right? Where is it affecting her body so that she can't live properly and optimally, right? So I'm just gonna kind of start. So what I'm looking for is that arm to go weak. If it's strong, it means nothing's there, okay?
Aww.
So what's that? Lung. What did we just release? So now my body's saying, I found it, I can get to it now. See what I'm saying? See how like
And you did this on me
a couple weeks ago, nothing tested.
No, ropeworm tested.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. So, but now.
Guys, you paid attention on.
Someone did, right? Someone asked it. So we're gonna keep going. Is there anywhere else that we got here? Okay. So that was basically it, lung. And is it both lungs? No, it's just the right. So I go here, strong, right lung. Okay, questions on that? I know it's a little weird, but do you see how, what I'm saying of how your body can totally just react to that? Okay, you look like you have a question.
No.
You just engage. Do you wanna come up and do it? Okay. Well, you tell us, I'll sort of start it for you, but so I did an online session with Julia 2 weeks ago or last weekend? I think it was last weekend. And we were doing, we did a lot of updating on her program, and then I said, hey, like, I feel like we need to do some emotional release. So we did, right? And literally, was it the next day or that day? I think it was the next day. The next day, she released a parasite. After doing emotional work, right? So we released probably a dozen emotions that day, right? And so what I'm saying to you is she had all this angst in her body, she was off for like you were like off.
Yes.
Like I'm just being like off, like her body was off for 2 weeks, right? And then we started doing some emotional work, because that's what her body was calling for, right? And instantly, after doing some emotional work, she was a little all over the place emotionally for what, a couple days, but her body was releasing toxins like crazy. So that just goes to show you, those emotions, that the frequency of those emotions were holding those toxins in her body, they couldn't come out. And then it was like, hello, floodgates open, right? So let's see what's going on. So, yes, let's make sure, okay, good. Alright, so does she want emotional release today? Does she want resonance? You want some resonance testing today? Okay, so. So she tested for 2 things, for glyphosate. Everyone knows what glyphosate is, yes. She also tested for radiation, okay? You're like, what's radiation? What's that? Oh, so this is interesting. I always love to hear when clients say stuff like this, because they're like, oh, they start to, when you start to test people for things, they start to go, wait, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, tell us, no, go ahead, please.
Just had terrible sleep for like 4 days.
Uh-huh.
And on Monday, I did like a bunch of journaling stuff, and I was not on my phone for 4 days. I was like watching a video, I watched TV, I was on TikTok the other night, and my sleep was like shit. And I was like, I think it's because I was on my phone, that's why I can't sleep. And we did the
So I think that's interesting, right? Because as you get healthier, as you get cleaner, and your body gets rid of stuff. When I start to test you, you start to go, that makes sense, and then we start asking questions about your lifestyle. Again, it's like, it's not just about getting toxins, it's about looking at your lifestyle and changing a couple of things, not everything at once, but changing things over time so that your body starts to become healthy, and then you become your own health advocate, right? I just went radiation, she went frick, right? The good thing is that we can solve that, right? Now she's not just like, oh, I wonder how am I gonna fix that? You actually know how to fix it, right? So let's see, we're gonna see what does our body want to handle more? Does it want to handle, so this is where I'm gonna get a little crazy, right? We're gonna see how much right now radiation is impacting her body, okay? So I'm gonna start close to her body. So by me starting close to her body, it's saying it's not really impacting me that much, right? The further out that I get, her body's like, this is really impacting me and I need it to not, okay? So we're just gonna see, let's see how much it's impacting. So her arm will go weak the second it's like, I'm done, that's as far as it goes, right? So let's see. Quite a bit, right? So what I'm gonna ask now is, so recently we've been talking about energy, right? So your energy levels, we want to be at 1,000, right? Out of 0, we want it to be at 1,000. We want the toxin in your body to be at 0, right? So if her body's over here, that probably means it's pretty high on the scale, right? So I'm gonna ask her body, is it over 500? Is it over 600? Is it over 700? Is it over 800? Is it over 9? So it's not over 900 that it's affecting you, but let's see how much it is affecting you, right? So is it 810, 20, 30, 40, 50? So 840 points, that's affecting her health, right? So now what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna solution that, right? We're gonna find a solution to how do we get rid of that, right? Could be something as simple as, I have a little device in my pocket, because you know me, where's my, here it is. I'm gonna see, hold that for me. This is something that we'll have in office soon enough, but it's an EMF protector, okay? So it's actually it's not blocking, because if it blocked radiation from you, you wouldn't receive phone calls, you wouldn't receive anything, right? This is turning the negative frequency of radiation, of EMF exposure, right, into a positive. So it's not affecting all of it, right? when you even took that, how did you feel any difference as you're holding that? Do you feel anything different? You don't have to. No? Okay. So you were all the way out here, right? So now her body went weak out here, right? So now I want her body to go strong. Let's see what this did to her body, how much it helped, right? So her body's now staying really strong. So to about there, her body said that really helped a lot. Okay, that little pendant, that's a shungite pendant that helps to translate negative radiation into something more positive, so it's not impacting you as much. And now we're gonna see, does she want a binder to help with that? That's a yes, okay? She's already on HMET binder, right? So now we're up here, okay? Does that take it to
What is that?
0?
That's the HMET.
HMET binder. So what I did was I had the negative in my hand and then I brought it to a positive to neutralize it, right? Because we don't want that in the body, right? So now her body's saying, I'm good, right? See that? Does that make sense to you all, right? So, yeah. You know, I mean, again, this is something I wear all the time, because actually what it does for me, and I notice it does for me, I notice a huge difference. It actually just helps to kind of negate all the chaos in my body, right? All the chaos of the radiation, of the EMF exposure that we're always prone to on the basis. We have cell phone towers now, they're everywhere, right? We're on our phone, we're on our computer, we're being exposed all day, every day while you sleep, all of it. Okay, so these are soon to come in the business and in the practice. So I just wanted to think it's kind of cool. But yeah, so her body wanted to deal with that radiation. That was the #1 priority, right? We can go into glyphosate and see how much is that impacting her. She's been working on that for a minute. So let's see, is that impacting her? See how much. How's that, right? Let's see, is it over 500? Is it over 400? Is it over 300? Is it over 200? So that probably 6 months ago when she first came to see me was probably close to 1,000, right? And what do we know about glyphosate? Anybody?
Disrupts the gut.
Disrupts the gut? Yep. What is it? It's an antibiotic. In 2010, it was known and patented as an antibiotic. What do antibiotics do to the gut? Kills the good bacteria, opens the gut, right? What do we know of antibiotics? They cause holes, right? So if you don't deal with that deep toxicity, I'm sorry I'm touching you. You don't deal with that deep toxicity in the body, nothing's happening, right? You have to rebuild the gut, you have to get the toxins out first, make sure you're going to the bathroom and get the toxins out, and then lift the gut after that. But first you have to get rid of the toxins. You have to. Okay? Good work.
Yay.
And what's the time?
45.
Cool. I'll probably do like 1 or 2 more if anybody wants to come up. If not, if we're done, if no one wants to, it's okay, no big deal. Come on back. The brave one, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna take your arm. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, again, I'm gonna just push down. I'm just gonna ask you to apply slight pressure, not strength, right? Just slight pressure. Okay, do you feel how your muscle locks out like that? Yes. Yes, so that's what we call a muscle lock, right? So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna flip, and one way your body should go down, other way should stay strong, okay? So we're gonna go here, nice and strong, I'm gonna go here. Good, feel that difference? Yeah. How it goes a little bit weak as it rotates, got that? Okay, so now what I'm gonna ask is, does your body wanna start with an organ test? Yeah, so his body wants to start on organs, right? So I'm gonna do a full body organ scan to see where is his body saying, I'm a little stressed right now, I'm a little bit weak, I need some help, okay? And there could be multiple, and what we're gonna do is whatever we find, we're gonna find a priority for you of where your body's saying, this is where I need to start, I need to focus right here for a little bit, okay? So I'm just gonna start. Okay? What do you think that was?
Hard.
So his heart and his small intestine test, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna see what's going on, okay? Again, I'm not gonna leave you and be like, oh, your heart's off. No, it's so hard. It's just a little bit, it needs a little help, okay? So we're gonna see, does he want resonance testing first? No, so we're just gonna see, is it food related? Nope. Is it immune? Is it parasitic? Do you have a parasite affecting that part, right? Is it anything bacterial? Nope. Is it anything Lyme? Nope. Is it mold? Strong, okay? Is it chemical? Is it metal? Metal is affecting that heart area. Is it radiation? Okay, so we're getting some answers, right? Is it stress? Pretty strong. Stress me? No. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see, okay, well, what does this body want to solve the mold first? Because most always, we're not gonna start on a parasite cleanse or anything parasite, because what we need is we need to make sure that the body is draining, it's moving, it's opening up. If we go right for parasites, he's gonna come back to me and go, I don't like you very much, because I have all these things happening inside of me, and they can't come out because I have emotions probably that need to start working on, or things like that, other toxicity that we can work on first, right? So I'm even gonna ask him, I'm gonna ask his body, can we start with parasites right now? No, right? Can we start with the mold? You can start with the mold. So is your arm getting tired?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay. So we're gonna see, does he want, let's see. Does he want, really, it says biotoxin binding, frequency of biotoxin binding, so I put that up against him, right? So that's saying, my heart needs that, I need to get that mold out of that area, that will really help me breathe and work functionally, right? So then we're gonna go here, okay? So if we have mold, for example, we're gonna see how much that mold is affecting it, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna let go of your arm and I'm gonna start quantum because this is affecting you quite a bit, so I'm gonna go quantumly. Here. That's where your body is saying, I'm done, this is where I'm at with mold. And so mold's really impacting that body, so I'm gonna gather it's probably at 1,000, okay? I know that seems a little weird for you, you're like, how can you do that, right? So it's the same thing as me doing this, is me doing this, I'm still testing you, because you're in my brain right now, right? My thought and my heart are on you, right? So I'm just going, where is that stopping? And it's right about here. Okay,
I have to believe you.
so now what I'm gonna do, right, is I'm gonna take that toxin, right? So you have that mold. Now I'm gonna see from here, right? Now we want it to be strong, right? So right about here, his body's saying, I can get to about here before it stops helping. So now what do we want? So now we come here. See how his body's like, I'm not, but out here. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So I'm not crazy. My fingers are doing the same thing his body just did, right? I was out here, I come into here, and I was here first, right? So I did me first so that you guys can see, here we are, whoa, what's going on here? Okay, so now we're gonna ask the body, does he need something supportive? Does he need more support, heart support? You need more heart support. So do you want something from Cellcore? You do, so let's see, you can relax for a second. Let's see here, do you want? So he wants a drainage support, okay? This is a new product that I started using, it's called Drainage Activator. This has things like turkey tail, reishi, cordyceps, and what are all those things? And anybody know what those things are? Mushrooms, right? They're adaptogenic mushrooms. So that's gonna help to calm your system down, right? So now we're just gonna see, what does that get him to, right? So we were about here, does that bring us to the body? Super strong. Okay.
That
It worked? Yeah, well, that's how we can start your program, right? So now we're saying, we just solved the issue of why his heart is weak. of why he's having this issue, right? And then we also said, his body's saying, we need to start going more, we need to start helping that system of that digestion work more. Make sense? Anybody have any questions about that? No? Awesome, thank you, appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay, yeah? You had a rough week? Oh, no.
It's all gonna explode.
No, it's not. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna ask, does she have a muscle open test? Are you saying yes? We're gonna go here. We're gonna go here, feet, okay, good, so she's testable, okay? So now what I'm gonna ask her body is, where does she wanna start today? What is her body asking for me? Does she want anything, does she want emotional release today? Does she wanna release a toxin? Does she wanna release, does she want fascia work? You're stressed, though. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go where does she want the fascia work? Does she want it here? Heart. Do you mind if I share what just happened? Her dad just passed away. So her heart's a little bit achy, right? Makes sense, right? So she just needs to open that up a little bit, right? So what we can do, right? So I'm just gonna, again, energetically, right? I can feel where her body is saying, please don't come any closer, right about there. She's like, that's about as far as anybody can get right now, right? So with patience, I am gonna have to wait until her body is ready to receive my energy, right? Because if I go here, what do you feel right now with me being that close to you? It's hot. I just felt massive heat right there. Woo! Girl. So do you feel that heat? That's warm, like very warm. So how do you feel right now? Meaning your body's saying no. How do you feel? How do you feel like right there? Not do you, you're okay? Okay. So your body's saying something different. So even though mentally she's like, it's fine, her body is saying, I'm not quite ready. So I'm gonna wait, right? So her body says, yeah, you can let me in, I can already feel.
It's cooling down.
It is actually, it's calming down. She's breathing, look at that. Cause I'm not going in for the kill, right? Let it out, baby. Let it out. It's okay. We're here for you. We're here for you. But see what I mean? If I went in for emotion, she probably would have been like, no, I can't deal with that right now. But her body is saying, fascia wise, I can open up. Thank you.
Oh.
So now I can, it's not as hot, right? It's definitely not as detailed, I'll have to keep trying to keep out a little bit. This is what we need to deal with, guys, right? It's okay to feel. I think so many of us are so terrified to feel these emotions.
Why don't you share what you did with Erica?
Oh, yeah, so my sister, so my dad passed away, right? In 2015. Yesterday, I had a phone call with my sister, and my sister's been struggling with, I don't wanna say struggling with her weight, but she has been a little bit, it's been a nuisance for her, let's say that, right? And, or just being open up. And what happened was I said, hey, again, I'm not pushing, are you open to me doing some emotional release on you? Because I think that's holding you back. So literally started showing her a program, we're gonna get her on the right track. And then I started releasing some emotions. And a lot of those emotions were related to my dad passing away that she had never dealt with. She'd never allowed herself to feel the resentment, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, the heartache, right? Her first emotion was heartache, and she was like, you're gonna make me cry. I was like, freaking do it! Get it out, right? I cry all the time about my father. It's okay. It's okay, right? Good times, right? There's good times and bad times. It's okay. But so then I found resentment in her, right? And I think it was in her liver, right? Affecting her liver. She started to bawl her eyes out. You're making me like all this stuff. And then she just started to open. She was like, I just miss him. I miss him so much. It's like, me too. You'd be weird for you to not miss him. It would be weird, right? So I do that. You're breathing, girl. Do you feel that deep breath that you just got? Yeah. So this is where I'm gonna say, everyone wants to come into here, come in here and start working out. And start doing all this crazy crap, right, with exercise. Your body might not be ready for it, and that's okay, right? Your body might need to be opened up, because it's been so, I mean, you heard that guy, right? Our chest, we can't breathe, because we're so used to gripping and being, "Oh, I have to do everything right, I have to, whatever." Stop. Again, your body wants to work for itself, right? You see how much our body is starting to open up now? How do you feel right now? A little bit more content and calm. Take a good deep breath into the sun. Typically, I would do this laying down because it's a little bit more comfortable for you guys. Gotcha. I got you. This is what I'm saying is, I care about you guys, Anna cares about you guys, we care, right? We want you guys to feel good, I don't want you to live with this stuff in you, right? And you realize, you can see it, like look at how much emotion, I didn't even release an emotion from her, look how much emotion's coming off her heart. Does that make sense? Like, are you, again, I can only show you, right? I'm not gonna sit here and continue to talk, but she's really letting go, which is a good thing. We have a really hard time letting go of things. Okay? We don't always need to be right. I think that's a struggle in our society anymore, is everyone's trying to be right all the time. I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to show you your body has more power than you think it does. That's all I'm trying to help you understand.
Yay.
I'm gonna leave it there. I think that is enough for today. Okay, I really thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day, your family and all that. Please, just have a good day and let it go. Okay?
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay.
You're welcome.